Good evening. Okay, so, I have been inundated with messages. Like, I'm telling you, my inbox just goes, it's too much. And it got to the point where, like I had to disappear for a minute. And I just needed a break because it was just something that was just never ending. I'm getting messages that teachers are dying. I'm getting messages that support staff are not being supported. They're being told to clean rooms that are contaminated with COVID, but they're not aware that is I'm getting screenshots of policy violations and shifted narratives, and it was just a lot, folks. So I don't know if y'all seen Steve where he came back. So I'm gonna show you where I am. I'm actually hanging out with my man Blue, and it's just been an interesting time back here. um the stuff that I'm seeing is too much. So I've just been chilling with Blue. Like we just been talking, just back and forth, like "Purr, purr, purr." Like we just been having some real deal conversations because what is going on out here? And what is happening? Parents, it is 8:18. Where are your children? Are your children home? Do they know what time they're supposed to be home? Parents, have you checked the cell phone? They're out here vandalizing property for likes and views. Now they're taking, lug nuts off of cars on TikTok. What is happening out here? And y'all just laughing. You just laughing. I have my wig on, I have my sage, and I'm literally chilling with Blue because I'm just trying to figure out what is going on. What are we doing? Where's the village? We need a fire extinguisher. We're still dealing with a whole pandemic out here. We're still dealing with COVID-19. There's folks that are dying, folks, and we are still out here playing. So yeah, if you don't know who I am, my name is Bianca Goolsby, and I'm an education activist, and I work in the Tampa Bay area to solve problems and advocate for children. I have just been inundated with messages to the point where, like, I had to take a step back, folks. I just I think I was very transparent as possible the last time I was on live, but folks, like I'm dealing with a heart failure, y'all. Like I'm dealing with something very, very serious. Thank goodness I meet with the surgeons on the 15th. So the ball is rolling with that, and so just please keep me uplifted in prayer. But this has been an interesting journey for me personally. And then to see the trauma that is taking place in our community, left and right, just with a multitude of issues, right? There's just so much happening at one time. I was like, I have to use my voice today and just share kind of the things that I've been highlighting, been talking about, and for y'all to reflect on this, to share this information, to demand accountability, because at the end of the day, folks, it's going to take a village to fix this system. We are dealing with our democracy that is totally polarized, social media has been a major factor in that. If you haven't read the book Hype Machine, I definitely recommend that you check it out. I will post the Amazon link in the comments so that you can read it yourself. But it's a very profound book on how tools such as the one that I'm using to communicate with you on, it has its positives and its negatives. And unfortunately, sometimes the negatives overshadow the positives. So we're seeing that with our kids. I mean, I've posted videos of children breaking into vending machines and destroying the sinks. And I'm like, baby, you did that in Hillsboro. They don't have any money. Y'all destroying y'all school and your district is broke, honey. They have no money to fix what y'all thought that they was just gonna replace. Baby, they're not fixing that. They have no money. So I just thought it was interesting that the children were destroying their campus and then self-incriminating themselves by posting the footage on social media. This is why, parents, I'm telling you, it is important to check the cell phone. Like, you need to know your kids' screen names. For heaven's sake, some of these screen names on these social media apps already warrants a conversation. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Cobb says teachers are speaking out, but in all honesty, the majority of the parents and community are silent. And that's really sad because these teachers can't care more about your children than you. So parents, this is why I'm asking you. It's 8:22 p.m. Do you know where your children are? Okay? Do they know what time they're supposed to be home? Because just because it's the weekend does not shield them from accountability. Are you prepared for the unintended consequences that can occur while your children are out late at night unsupervised? Because I'm just seeing all the shooting and the killing and these teenagers literally playing Grand Theft Auto in broad daylight. And not just in my city, it's across the nation. And they're posting it on social media. And I don't understand it. Cobb says we're burnt out and it's just October 2nd. Folks, this is the end of the first 9 weeks. Do you know how your kids are doing in school? Do you know what their grades are? Because I see all of these statuses that talk about what teachers need to be doing. And I'm just trying to find out, well, what are your duties and responsibilities? Because your kids have a brand new spray ground backpack. They have the new J's on. They have AirPods in their ears with the brand new iPhones. But don't come in the classroom with a notebook, a pencil, just the basic supplies that we need in school. And so we out here talking about our children look so fly, but they're reading below grade level. Okay? And I'm not just picking on your child, because if you actually look at the FSA data, okay, over half of the third graders are not fluent in reading anyway. So this is why I say y'all need to ask questions while y'all out here celebrating that, we're not going to have an FSA and half of our kids can't read in the third grade. That has systemic factors, by the way. There's studies done on it. So educate yourself on that. And ask yourself why we just see all of these 20-year-olds and 19-year-olds and 18-year-olds that are committing these crimes when they should be celebrating and going to high school, completing high school, and getting a trade or going to college or having some type of career path so that they can generate money so that they could be successful and grow a family. I mean, that's what I thought this American value system was supposed to be about. So why are our kids left behind? Why can't our kids read? And then parents, again, 825. Your kids doing everything but what they supposed to do on these phones. Have you taken a look? For the life of me, I didn't understand it. When you had parents that had the audacity to not know their child's passcode on the phone they pay for. That did it for me. So you don't know the passcode to your child phone? You pay the bill and you don't know how to open your child phone? Huh? Interesting. So parents, I'm looking again at you. We can't blame anybody for some of these issues. Adam said, my former student was murdered last week. Pissed and sad. And my heartfelt condolences to you, Adam, because I know that rips you apart as an educator because you are emotionally invested into that child's well-being and safety. And also to the family that have to deal with that trauma. Like this is real, folks. I know I look silly on the internet, but this is really just a marketing strategy. I've literally had to make my series into a reality show just to get folks to pay attention to some of these elected officials that have said, put me in, coach. I want to make policies decision for the people. And then we find out that they're bought with all types of entities that don't have clean hands in the education system. The failure in education is big business, folks. And so this is why I keep saying following the money. This is important. But no, like this trauma is real. All of these shootings that's happening, that is creating trauma. In some neighborhoods, it's when someone dies, there's a retaliation that happens after that. So this is why you have back to back shootings. Nobody wants to say anything. And look at all the grief and the trauma that is taking place due to folks' silence. Silence. This is the same silence. If we're going to talk about it, we need to talk about it. The same silence that we have in church when we see our spiritual leaders grooming our young girls and our young boys. The silence of the trauma when y'all don't stick up for our children. The trauma that happens when we have some of these nonprofits that secure all of this grant money to say that they're going to use that money to best impact children. And when we follow the money, the receipts don't add up. And there's children out there that need support. We want to continue to push stuff under the rug and don't want to talk about it. And that silence is killing us. All of us. And this has generational implications. I was just having a conversation with my line sister today. Shout out to you, Tiffany. And we were talking about the PPP loan implications that are happening right now because people wanted to get $20,000, which if you break that down, they could have made that working at McDonald's And there's no shade at working at McDonald's. It's the principle that you have literally sold your life into being a property of the government system because you decided to defraud the system just so that you can buy stuff to impress people that don't even like you. These folks are literally on Instagram, and these are adults. So just imagine what our children are going through, which we're going to talk about that in a moment. These adults out here carrying on, acting a complete fool on social media, not being intentional with their words, not being transparent, and lying and deceiving folks for whatever agenda that they have, and folks that have no integrity, that have millions of views, and folks that share their content, watch their content. I was stuck. I was dumbfounded. I kept hearing people continue to talk about Kevin Samuels, didn't know who he was. I looked him up and I was like, okay. So we continue to have folks that become popular because they have this ideology. And instead of just, I'm not going down that rabbit hole today. Well, first of all, how you doing? Okay, yes. So I'm glad that you are having a great birthday. And so Blue, he got a special message for you too. Okay, you ready? He says, "Burp, burp, burp." Yeah, so that's happy birthday to you. Cobb says these people seeking re-election that have said and done little to nothing to address shootings and education issues must be removed from these seats. They make time for the parties and feel-good events, but not the hard work. And you know, this is why I said y'all need to be intentional down this ballot. You need to know these people's, you need to know their name. You need to know what they're running for. You need to know their duties and responsibilities. You need to know how to contact them if something goes wrong. You need to know what their political beliefs are. You need to know who's funding their campaign. And you need to know if they're a good human or not. Every single person on that ballot needs to be vetted. Every single person. And so while we have these good events to say that, you know, we're restoring this and restoring that, well, I just seen another school in Hillsborough on the news because of fighting. But this ain't new. We've been talking about this for years. We've been talking about this for years. And the kids are so desensitized to this fighting. They have dedicated fight pages, folks. They have Instagram pages that are dedicated to their school site where you have a person that receives these fights via DM, airdrop, or whatever other tool that they use to communicate, and they post it on this page. Not only does the child get into a fight, but now they see that recording, and that recording is there. And it's being shared on social media, and it never ends. So for the parents that continue to tell your children back how school was for you, I think you really need to have intentional conversations with your children so that you can at least learn from their perspective. Because it's just something that is very interesting. How you don't know the pages that your children like, and you don't know who they're talking to. If you wouldn't allow a stranger to knock up at, your door to talk to your child, why do you allow them to talk to whoever, whatever, on their phone, and you have no idea who your children are talking to? I need you to reflect on that, because there's grown men that are grooming these kids and hazing these kids instead of dealing with their own issues as to why they feel that they need these younger children to lift them up, to lift that person up, right? And they're out here doing some very reckless things, and they're posting it on the internet. I'm not, again, going down that rabbit hole, but it is a dark place on this internet, folks. And you need to check the cell phone. You do. You do. I have courses about it. Let me share it with you. You can go to courses.checkthecellphone.com, and there's information in there, folks. The course is only $20 and it's 50% off, so it's $10. Okay. And it literally breaks down what your children have access to with a tablet. I don't know if parents, but you say, oh, well, my child doesn't have a cell phone. Do you know how easy it is for a child to get a cell phone nowadays? You know that a child can go to a corner store and go get a prepaid phone, and they're able to have the Android store, and they're able to have access to Instagram, Snapchat, all that good stuff with a prepaid phone. You know that they can order that on Amazon, which I'm still trying to figure out that situation at Coleman Middle School, how the child, bought some stun guns on Amazon, and, just trying to find out, like, so the parents didn't check the backpack. They didn't check the order. They didn't have conversations on who ordered a bunch of stun guns. There was no backpack checking, like, parents. I'm trying to make sense of this, but where's the accountability here? Because we can't continue to say that the teachers are burnt out. The teachers are tired. And the support staff are beyond tired. They're beyond tired. Everybody's tired. But for some reason, I'm still seeing children running around here on this internet. And this is why I had to come over here to be with Blue, because I'm just trying to figure out what y'all doing. What are y'all doing? What accountability are you taking for your actions? Seriously. Have you reflected on the unintended consequences of your actions for allowing your child to be out unsupervised? I have questions. Who's taking responsibility? Who? And for the elected officials in Tampa, okay? So I seen a headline where Tampa ranks 4th in the nation for the rise of home prices. And so Tampa has all of these expensive homes here, but we have a failing education system. You do realize that the Florida Department of Education just published their lowest 300 list, and you know that Hillsborough County leads that list. And there was another school that was added to that list this year. So let's go ahead and take a field trip so that we can look at it together, because I'm just trying to figure out why we continue to celebrate these sports teams in the Tampa Bay area. Can we please get some understanding about how, we're leading the state, and, students being arrested and cited by the police, and our children can't read. Some campuses, only 5-10% are passing the FSA. And meanwhile, We have these elected officials that are supposed to be here for the people, and we can't get any answers. So let's go to lowest 300. Okay. And let me share my screen with you so you can see it too. Mm-mm. Okay. So you go to the 300 lowest performing elementary schools. Okay. So it turns into an Excel. So let me go ahead and share that with you. Come on, Excel. All right. Bear with me because I know that this is going to be a lot. So let me move this over so I can see what I'm doing here. All right. So it's an Excel document that you can download directly from FLDOE. Okay. This is 2020, 2021. Okay. Now they added something new here about, if they remain on this list, or where they added. Okay. So that is the difference there. So we're going to scroll to Hillsborough County. Okay. So let's just look at this field here. Okay. We're going to keep scrolling. Okay. Highlight this here. Okay. Now, this is all Hillsborough. Okay. So you have DeSoto Elementary that was added to this list of the lowest 300 in Hillsborough County. So, again, people lie, receipts don't. The receipts are right there. I mean, y'all can go to it yourself, read it yourself. These are receipts that you need to be intentional about, because, again, if you're paying money and you're paying taxes in this system, you should care. You should care the people that say that they're going to represent you, because, it's I wasn't gonna talk about this tonight, but since we're here, um, help me out. For the folks that are coming to school board members, and you're doxing school board members, and you are showing up and protesting at their homes, and you're saying really nasty things about them. Are you being a good influence to children that you say you're advocating for? Because I have questions. I do. I want to know really what is your intent. If you are advocating for children, why are we doxing folks? Why does Sheriff Chronister and Bob Gautieri and some of these other officers out here have to make sure that our school board members are safe? Because there's folks that are threatening their lives based on a decision that they're making on health and safety. And somehow we are talking about freedom and freedom to have a choice. And then I see all of these abortion bills around here. I can somebody help me make sense of any of this? And this is why I'm here with Blue, because I, I don't know what else to say. I don't know what's going on. I don't. And this is why these elected leaders, these folks that said that they were going to be in public office, like, you need to know them and you need to know what their intentions are. Okay? These folks are making decisions on your behalf. And I understand how folks believe that the system is rigged and how they're going to do what they want to do anyway. I hear you. I get you. But please be intentional with your ballot and knowing the people that you elect in office, because it's not just about the presidential election. Okay, let me say that again. It is not about just the presidential election. We are talking about board of county commissioners that we need to follow the money on that too, huh? Why are we talking about Hillsborough public schools? Okay, I'm gonna leave that alone. Y'all out here and having folks not being intentional. You have political parties that are collecting money and they out here having parties and celebrating that they're winning seats, and yet where is the progress? Because I'm just trying to find out where it's at. And you have folks that literally perpetuate narratives that everything is fine, everything is okay. And this is why there's a survey that's going to be coming out, folks, for the folks in Hillsborough County. I've partnered up with some groups. And so since, there was a call to action to have a, cultural and, a review of, the climate and the culture of the school sites. Well, not only are we going to talk about, just how the teachers feel, but how the community feels, about how they're not being notified that their child has been near someone with COVID-19 and had no idea, wasn't even notified. We can also talk to the parents who literally their child has barely been in school because of the amount of times that they've been quarantined. Or we can also talk to the community folks about how they've left their child and bus drivers can't come because they're shorted. They're short routes, and the bus drivers are trying to do everything that they can. And if y'all don't check the number of sex offenders that are around in your area and have a good understanding who is who and where is where, y'all need to be paying attention, because it's too many of our children that's being snatched up out here and people are being silent. They will not get the same attention. Gabby stole the hearts of folks, but there have been missing young kings, queens, whoever. They've gone missing and didn't even have a search team. So I need folks to really be intentional. Okay. Please check the cell phone. We have to work together, and that means that we have to be accountable. For the folks that are in the roles, now is not the time for you to duck and hide. Speaking your truth. Operate in passion and do what needs to be done. While people out here and playing games and playing politics, our children are dying. Literally. Have you checked the news on how many children have died just this year? And have we paid attention to the increased rise of children wanting to harm themselves? Have we been paying attention? Have we been paying attention to the screen time and how our children feel that they're not valued and appreciated? And this is why they get into these groups and try to find love and literally have these dating coach gurus that's trying to groom your children on how to find a mate. It's all on TikTok, folks. I can't make any of this stuff up. Okay. And then these challenges. So there's a challenge that these students are gonna hit a teacher. This is what we're doing in 2021 in a whole pandemic. So we just out here committing felonies because that hitting a teacher is a felony in the state of Florida. So I need y'all to let your children know about the law. If they hit a teacher, it is a felony. And if the kids record it so that they could put it on TikTok, you can't pay an attorney and say, please get my son off. Because some of y'all parents think that these attorneys are just supposed to just solve your kids' problems while you don't take personal accountability for what they've done. But we ain't going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about the generational implications that happen in our community because of lack of accountability. So everyone needs to hold themselves accountable, and that includes myself. But the districts, not just Hillsborough, because it's a train wreck, they are unable to sustain that operation. It's going down, and it's going down fast. And the sad part is, if y'all watch some of the recent press articles and whatnot, and what some of these staff members have to say, it's very troubling that these people are in these roles. Our kids need more love. You know what? Our kids do need love, right? But when you put them in a classroom without AC, when you put them in a school where it's moldy and it's hot, and they're 40 in a classroom, and I would want to fight too. There's no love because you haven't put any love into my learning environment. You haven't made sure that this learning environment is a safe space for our children. And meanwhile, you want to say that they need more love. How about you provide them AC? How about you provide them clean drinking water? How about you provide them the right PPE? Because I still haven't received my full receipts on that. And it's very interesting. And I'm glad that it's not just me, because there was a whole reporter for Channel 10 News that asked for Yinka's records for 3 months. It took the district 3 months to turn and give her what she asked for, and still didn't give her what she asked for. Gave her incomplete information. But don't worry, I was the one that snitched. And then y'all said that y'all inadvertently left it out. Well, who's doing the checks and balances with this public records request? Communications department, huh? Tanya, can we get some answers here? I'm still missing my records. There's a lot of stuff that I've asked for, and I still haven't received. And we following the money because there's some contracts that's happening in this district. Y'all need to pay attention. And this is why you should care, because these people that are elected to office, they vote for these contracts, and they need to be just as aware as you. So people can be transparent about how this money is being spent and how it's working to best support our children. But we can't address the fighting situation until we actually acknowledge that it's a problem. Okay, because acknowledgement is the first step. Okay. The second step is really having a conversation about social media use in what they're doing, because what's happening is that they start mess on social media, they bring that mess to the school, it gets posted on social media, and it's rinse and repeat. If you ask the guidance counselors, the social workers, principals, they'll tell you a lot of the fights that happen on campus is either neighborhood related, meaning that it was something that happened in the neighborhood, or it was something that popped off on social media. Your kids got T pages. So while y'all look at the shade room and they got some good and bad stuff, this, that, and the third, well, guess what? There's some school sites that have their own shade room too. And they use it as a means to cyberbully students. And again, when I talk about the increased rate of students feeling that they're not valued and want to end their life, well, I think these are things we need to talk about. But are you having conversations with your children as to, are they being bullied online? Who are they talking to? You know, what are they interested in? And then the last thing that I'm going to end you with, parents. Okay, so your children are listening to music and they have their AirPods in, or their Bluetooth speakers, or their headset, or whatever. Okay, do you listen to the words that are being shared and programmed in your kids' ears? Do you know what they listen to? Like, no, seriously, I I have a real question. I want to know, parents, do you listen to what your children are listening to? Because I have questions. I have questions because I have seen and heard a lot. And your kids are rapping it too. And while people were talking about what Lil Nas X was doing and not doing, whoop de whoop, your kids are literally singing the song "The Throat Baby." So help me process this. I've been very quiet. I've been very quiet. I just want to know, where is this selective outrage at? For the folks that now just want to show up at school board meetings to talk about freedom and all that, I just want to know, where's your energy about how our children can't read in the state of Florida? Now, if we actually break that down by who's proficient and not proficient, those numbers are scary. Okay. I did a whole review and showed you how you can look at your site's data. Okay. I'll post the link to the website so you can look at it again. But there's campuses that only 13% of those babies passed. Okay. Again, this is not just on the teachers. It can't be, especially in schools where they're understaffed. And then what I'm just trying to find out is how some of these teachers in these transformation schools can have all of these chronic absences. I'm just trying to figure out what policy can be put in place to where, if teachers in a transformation school, that they can't have all of these chronic absences unless it's something medically necessary and they just have a plan in place for their kids. I don't understand it. And if y'all think that subs are coming to a school to babysit children, because that's essentially what they're doing. You literally have children doing crossword puzzles and word searches in 6th, 7th, 8th, and I've seen 10th grade. Your kids are doing word searches. Okay? So ask questions. Okay? Parents, check the backpack. For the life of me, I don't understand how you don't know what's coming in and out of your house. These children are bringing loaded guns to school. How could that get past you? I you know, I, I just I just want to know, at what point will we be accountable for the village? And some of y'all parents get so upset because someone else is trying to rear your child, and you, lacking social emotional intelligence, take that as an ego and feel like somebody's questioning your parenting. And so you don't want anybody to check your child. And you do that in the school system where everything is an excuse and everything is on the teacher. But at what point do you take personal responsibility? And then y'all want to be mad and say the system ain't fair. But you haven't registered to vote. You haven't been intentional with what you're supposed to be doing to be productive in society. I bet you, if Google and Facebook and TikTok and Snapchat, if these social media apps go away for several hours, I'm real concerned about how some of y'all will act. I remember one time it had glitched for several hours on Facebook, and you had the whole internet talking about how they was just panicking because they thought it was something wrong with their phone. So parents, y'all need to have some real conversations at home and talk to your children. It's 9:02. Parents, where your kids at? Parents, what are they doing on the cell phone? Why is your children texting folks at 4 o'clock in the morning? You don't know that because you sleep. But your child has full access to their phone, and this is why they come to school sleepy. They've been on the phone looking at that screen with all that blue light coming into their eyes. There are settings in place, parents, to where you can turn off the Wi-Fi to certain devices so that they are not on YouTube and talking to strangers. There's literally apps out here, folks. I talk about it in one of my courses that you could check out. But there's literally apps that kids could just connect with anyone around the world. And there's YouTube videos and TikToks of kids doing it for fun. And it's a real thing, folks. Like this, y'all think this cyber game, I'm telling you, they don't play fair. And if you don't know what's happening on this internet, you're doing a disservice to your child. This is why I feel really bad for those gaps in generation families where you have grandparents that are taking care of young children, and these young children are running laps over their grandparents on these apps. And that's what makes things worse. You have children that are literally meeting up with older men and older women and etc. all under your nose. You would have no idea. You have kids that have dating profiles. But this is where we're at. So I love y'all so much, but I need y'all to really be intentional down this ballot. I need folks to really be accountable. I need the community in the village to really say what they mean, not for show on social media, not for your own ego and your own satisfaction, but for the children that are literally dying out here left and right, while we have folks that want to just only come out to celebrate when we have a dysfunctional school system and we have some dysfunctional people still in roles that should not be in them. Is not right. And meanwhile, you got folks that say that they're pro-black and for pro-black issues, but when it's time to stand up, where you at? There's a meme that's going around and it says all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And it has a Kanye on it. It has a couple of politicians, a judge on there. And this is what I'm just going to say to my community that watch this. When we talk about following the money, we talking about following all the money. See, when y'all out here doing stuff in the name of God and all that, and you know, when things are tax free and you don't have to pay taxes and all that, you know, there is some access to public records and documents that have to be filed and stored on the IRS website for transparency. And this is what I'm going to say. Some of y'all better buckle up. I'm telling you, because when I got this new modem, my computer is running laps. You hear me? I'm able to go any place, anytime with my VPN, and I'll put my link there. You can get a discount. I highly recommend it. Pulling up these receipts, because these folks that say that y'all for the children and y'all getting all this money for all these different programs that you say you're doing, people our receipts don't. And we want to see all the receipts. Because when you collect money and you say that you're doing stuff for the kids and you mixing God into it, you better make sure you being accountable, transparent, and you operating in integrity, because God is not with the foolishness. So while some of y'all continue to play these games, just remember that what is done in the dark will always be revealed in the light. And always remember that our children are worth fighting for. And just like these school board members can be complicit, there's some nonprofits out here that have been collecting the check and the receipts just don't match on the impact. So, with that being said, I love y'all. Y'all have a great night. Y'all be blessed. I will check in whenever I can. But yeah, people I receipts don't. So I'll see y'all next time. Bye.